We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. Is LSU getting a Lincoln? I was going to say something else behind that, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But is LSU getting a Lincoln? Everybody's on my ass about the Lincoln Riley situation. Blake, there's a plane from Norman, Oklahoma that came to Baton Rouge. We will have to talk about that because there's things I said and there's things that I didn't say. One of them is not saying that Lincoln Riley is going to be the next head coach of LSU. But we will talk on it. We will talk on it. We will do some LSU-Arkansas breakdown along with the Ruffino's Rants. The College Football Playoff Committee basically has double standards for everybody and probably why the College Football Playoff Committee or College Football Playoff will have to expand because, quite honestly, we have people who teach history from the University of Arizona picking who the top freaking 25 teams in college are. There's a historian on the board. I might say something I might regret, but maybe LSU. Maybe college football needs somebody at the top in the College Football Playoff Committee. We'll talk about that. We want the truth, damn it. We want the truth. I'll give you the truth. Coming up top. And then we'll talk some LSU basketball. Huge night last night as the entire starting five got ejected for something stupid, and why referees and umpires and officials across the country are being made fun of for being long titty, no nipple having ass B words. We'll talk on that, and we'll talk about the game last night. And the Saints lose, but they gain a. We'll get to that at the very, very end. But before we get started, guys, as always, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to follow us there. Share to your social media platforms. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor by hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you're on Twitter, follow us and hit the retweet button. And if you're listening to us on the audio podcast, don't forget to subscribe there. We greatly appreciate it. But before we get started, as always, we take a couple of comments. Jake Crane from the J-Boy Show says, Andy Reid to LSU. Waffle House is sponsoring Andy Reid to LSU. I will branch off into something about what Jake Crane from the J-Boy Show. Go listen to the show. It's on the Volume Sports Network. You can go listen to all of it. I'm always in there. Him, Blaine, and Cohen always do a fantastic job. But we have to touch on something kind of alluding to what Jake is hinting at there. Cody Anderson on YouTube says Lincoln Riley is the Thundercat. If you forget during the college book of golly, my son Ben is not happy. He's just not happy. If you can hear him crying, the little man's not happy, as we probably got about another month until we get into the new studio. But anyway. Oh. Jay Johnson recruits his ass off, ends up with the number one recruiting class in the nation, too. Huge. Tiki Tac Taco reminds us, he says, who needs to recruit football players when Jay Johnson only signs 6'9" baseball players? That's true. And we'll come out right out the gate because Brian Annie Pitton sent us some super chats, and we'll get to those right when we get out. But let's do this. Let's pay some bills around this thing, and then we'll get started. None better than our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons and betonline.ag. Guys, with 64 years of experience, nobody's better equipped to servicing your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Or go see them over at 2500 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, I've been telling you for a long time now about everything being legal to place mobile sports bets in the state of Louisiana. The number one place to do that, betonline.ag. Whip out your mobile device at the end of the show. Use the 50% welcome bonus and let them know, and use the AWS podcast tab. That way they know your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, let's get this thing rolling, y'all. But Brian Penton sends us a $5 super chat. He says, I meant 5 months. So let's see what he says up top. He says, how about Double J landing the #1 class in college baseball, and he's only been here for 5 months. Huge, man. Huge. Absolutely huge. Let me see if y'all can hear. I don't know if y'all can hear. No, y'all can't hear Ben screaming. Good. I was wondering if y'all could hear my son Ben, absolutely screaming. Terry Hilton says, if you know, just wink. I got you. I know nothing. And Jacob Marceau says, Lincoln F. and Riley, come on down. The Price is Right voice. So let me start off with this. And I know that I kind of made a hint and made a joke about it earlier, because a lot of times during coaching searches, if you missed it today, there was some information about a plane leaving Norman, Oklahoma, which why is a plane going to Norman, Oklahoma and not Oklahoma City? I was told that there have been some communications between LSU, but a lot of coaches. This isn't something this is something that we've known, but this isn't something that is lockstep and key. This isn't something that's stamped down that Lincoln Riley's coming to LSU. There were a lot of people, I guess, quoting me today and misquoting me. So I think I need to start off the show by saying this. If you're going to quote me, I really appreciate it, but don't misquote me. A week ago on this show, I told you, and I tweeted it out, that there were some rumblings about Jimbo Fisher becoming the next head coach at LSU. I told you that I don't know if I believe that, and I feel that some things that I hear, that's a smokescreen. That's my feeling. It may be true. It may be false. But what I did not say is that this week that Jimbo Fisher would be named LSU's next head football coach. So for everyone misquoting me, saying that I said that, please find where I even hinted that I said Jimbo Fisher will be the next head coach. Now, what I did tell you, and what has come to be true, is that Jimbo Fisher, from national media members, is the #1 target for LSU football and Scott Woodward. I told you it was coming, y'all, because I've been in this game too long not to know what's going to happen. See, Scott Woodward used the local media last time to get the smoke screen out. But now that the local media, who's learned their lesson the hard way, they're not going out and saying anything, myself included. I'm starting to get tired of people saying, well, if anyone says they know anything, they're lying. No, what the truth is that anybody that covers LSU and makes that statement is that they are hearing things. They just don't have any confidence in it. They don't have any confidence in saying something that they hear because they fear that they will be misquoted, which is a good argument to have. I'm going to continue to say that I believe that we're talking about the next head coach of LSU football. Am I right? I don't know yet. Scott Woodward might pull out a rabbit out of the hat, but I still think we're talking about it. Now, I'm not basing my sourcing, and it's a fool's errand to think that I'm basing my sourcing off of a plane that got tracked from Norman, Oklahoma to Baton Rouge. To everyone saying, and to Oklahoma fans and LSU fans alike, and to some LSU media members that say that Lincoln Riley would not even bat an eye or look at LSU, you're a damn fool. Some may call you an absolute moron if you believe that, and we've seen this on Twitter. But if your athletic director is a big game hunter and you're saying that the big game that he's going after is Mel Tucker, with all due respect to Mel Tucker, who I like a lot, you're an idiot. So then you need to take that emblem away from your athletic director. One of the biggest games in this market right now is Lincoln Riley. I don't know if Scott Woodward really wants to go after Jimbo. Is Jimbo the smokescreen? We don't know, because everybody around LSU, I say athletic department, but around the LSU athletic department that used to leak out everything, hint, hint, wink, wink, Joe Oliva, isn't there anymore. But I want to tell every LSU fan this. When boosters pay big money to fire a coach, and LSU or any school has to go to their boosters and say, hey, we have to fire Ed Orgeron because he was at a gas station hitting on a woman. Oh, by the way, he's getting his ass kicked on the field. And if you think that those boosters aren't calling to find out what their investment is going to get them, you're also outside of your mind. The problem is that you got to sift through. The problem with media is that you have to sift through the bullshit to find out where the gold is. Who's the best at digging through the bullshit? We'll have to wait and see. Pooh Bear says, Mama said there'd be days like this. We'll wait in this thing. That game last night was pretty impressive, and Darius Days went off. Darius Days went off. Let me refer to this because my buddy Jay Crane said the Andy Reid thing. I put that comment up there, and his comment's going to be misconstrued as Jake Crane saying Andy Reid to LSU. He's not saying that, guys. So if you're going to quote us, if you're going to quote me, then you better get the quote right. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Jacob Cole says, OU fans aren't happy today with the hashtag Rudy Crew. They were not. I don't understand what I don't understand is where the logic is around sports and even in college football, where we can take a 20-year sample size and people to think that LSU is not an elite program. This isn't Florida. This isn't Georgia. This isn't Texas. This isn't Oklahoma. This is not Southern Cal. This isn't Oregon. This isn't the Washington Huskies. This is effing LSU, where in the last 18 years, you've been to 4 national titles and won 3 of them with 3 different head coaches. So I think for everyone nationally, they don't like to admit the fact that LSU is an elite program. The reason that why do people continue to talk about Southern Cal when they're not winning on the field? Everybody talks about blue bloods of college football. Well, when you strap on the pads and you strap up your helmet, it doesn't give a Rudy Poo if you're a blue blood when you get punched in the mouth. The heavyweight champion of the world didn't say, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world when Mike Tyson was punching his face in. After a while, and after he got hit with that first shot, he said, oh shit, I'm in trouble. Being a blue blood in the sport doesn't mean anything. Now, it means from a prestigious standpoint, sure, I'll give you that. But in 2000, and I hope that everyone understands this, and maybe even 1999, the people of Louisiana and LSU made a decision and said, hey, we want to be a part of that too. So to the Alabama fans, to the Oklahoma fans, to the Texas fans that think that you're relevant, you actually have to win a damn thing to be relevant. When you come to the SEC and you go up against Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, Auburn, all within a week span, teams like Tennessee and Kentucky coming up and not easy outs, not easy victories like you going and playing Kansas, you'll lose more than the 1 or 2 games that you lose during the regular season. Texas can't beat teams in the Big 12. What gives me any confidence that they can come into the SEC and do it? Hell, Texas can't even beat Arkansas. But Arkansas is a pretty good team, and I think that's a good segue. We'll get to a couple more of these comments, and I'll give you some of my thoughts about this LSU-Arkansas game. You know, that was a pretty good transition there. It's like I've been doing this for 354 episodes. James said, I heard Coach Klein from South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs will be the new coach. Okay. If he can recruit and win games, I really don't care. Lamar Williams says, we getting a big body Lincoln. Are we getting the Navy? What's this? What's the song? Song about navigators. Damn, it's slipping my mind. You guys know I'm a big rap lyricist. I got 10 bathrooms. I could all day. We'll see. I don't know. I do not know if we're getting Lincoln Riley. There are things that are out there, and one source says one thing, and the other source says another. One source I talked to today says Lincoln Riley's number 1. The other source says that the Jimbo Fisher deal's done. Both guys that I trust dearly. And anybody says that we don't break news or anything like that, that's fine. I really don't care. That's not what I do this for. But ask Bo Pelini. All right, we got a Cooper Super Chats flying in here. Mark sends us a $9.99 Super Chat. Says baseball, men's and women's basketball looking good. Can't wait till football is back on top 2. Will the new studio be ready before January 1st? I think so. I hope so. Robbie Smith Jr. says, how's this for a quote? You said O is the best coach in program history. No, I did not say that. Robbie, I never said that. What I said is that Les Miles technically is the most prestigious head coach in LSU football history. I actually said that last week and made a clip out of it. You don't listen. Daniel says, if it's Riley, do our fans realize if he gets a 10-year contract, Riley will still be in his 40s? Yeah, and look, he's got a big buyout too. I think it's close to 10, 15 million or something like that. He's got a big buyout. So are you going to pay Ed Orgeron 17 million? And are you going to pay Lincoln Riley the rest? Now, I think it's interesting, and I'm not sure if a lot of people saw this, but Ed Orgeron filed a claim his attorneys filed a claim to take his name out of the legal lawsuit that he's in for the rape allegation that he allegedly covered up. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but he did. Apparently, they're filing documentation. And again, due process has to play out here to be released. And there is documentation that I hear that Ed Orgeron and his attorneys are going to be putting forward to get his name off of the legal lawsuit. That's interesting. So everybody's saying he's going to be fired with cause. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Skipper Tally says, Jimbo's a smokescreen. Wilbur is really going after Saban. Yeah. I don't think so. TJ says, so just came across my Twitter feed. The Coach O said Hines is out for the season. All right, well, then we'll talk about that. I've been told today that Chasen Hines will be out for the season due to off the field issues. So we'll talk about that. Guys, it is what it is at LSU. LSU compliance strikes again. So I'm in a show. Coach O said it. So for the people who say that I don't have sourcing, it's not been anywhere. Coach O just said that Chasen Hines is going to be out for the rest of the year due to compliance issues within LSU. I don't mean this in a wrong way, and I said this Monday night. from an on-the-field perspective, and I hope Chasen Hines is able to get back on the field as soon as possible. That's not what I'm saying. I think that you need depth at that position, and you need good quality depth. However, Marlon Martinez, to me, should have been starting right guard no matter what. Now, the question is the right guard position something that's been hurting you? It has been. It hurt you last week against Alabama, but offensively, the problem is not what you're doing up front. The problem is not technically what you're doing on the outside. It's what's going up in the coaching box. It's what's going on in the coaching box. Anyone can make the argument about the defense. Oh, Blake, they let Durante Jones call plays. Bullshit. We saw it. Ed Orgeron giving a lead analyst credit instead of his defensive coordinator. Yeah. So Chasen Hines is going to be out for the year due to LSU compliance. One thing that Scott Woodward needs to fix, and we need to get this just out of the way. The one thing that we need to get fixed here. Now, let me say this about Hines in this situation. Now, well, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that alone. What I will say is that Scott Woodward's legacy, in my personal opinion, doesn't all hinge on the fact of him hiring Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson, and the next head football coach. Where his legacy truly is going to lie, in my opinion, is changing whatever in the hell and doing whatever in the hell he's got to do to change compliance at LSU. The one thing that's out of Ed Orgeron's control, and it's going to be out of the next head coach's control, is compliance issues have to be fixed. And you all know what I'm talking about. They have to be fixed. This is getting unreal. It does not excuse the fact that kids are doing that and breaking the rules. Let's let that be known. Kids, players across the country, you can't drink and drive. You can't smoke weed because if you get caught, there are penalties. Some schools, it's lesser than others. But at LSU, there is a penalty. Guys, with all due respect to the LSU players, it is more egregious to get a drug test and fail for smoking weed than it is to drink and drive and get caught for a DWI. I'm not going to get that political here when it comes to all of that. But the biggest legacy change that Scott Woodward could ever make was getting whatever he's got to do. Because the political scales are tipped in his favor to get this changed. Unreal. Robbie says, Blake, that you said that it's offseason. Please go get the clip. Please go find it. If you go find it, I'll retract my words. Dylan says, Blake steady mobbing. Big ballin' is my hobby. Oh, that's the song. Yeah. Seth says, wouldn't need Caleb Williams. Nuss and Walker Howard are locks as starters for the next 5 to 6 years. Yeah, neither one of those guys, Seth, will be here in 6 years. Blaine says sources are throwing things and hoping it sticks. Sources aren't doing that. National media is. Why do you think that the national media is the ones that are coming out with Jimbo as the number one target for LSU? Either one of two things. Either Jimbo's camp is leaking it to get more money, and how he can and should and would get more money is crazy to me. I guess he wants $100 million guaranteed instead of 95. Jeff Neal says, if you don't know who Jeff Neal is, it's Jeff in the Borough. I go on the Bill King show. He's always in there rambling about like women's volleyball and shit and doesn't really know what he's talking about. But Jeff says, you don't know what is going on. Maravich Assembly Center, Tiger Stadium at night. Jeff in the Borough, please. Are you referring to yourself in the third person, pal? Rick says, to be in 4 national championship games in the modern era, playing their schedule is remarkable. Not only is it remarkable, but how much do you count on the media? Guys, we're seeing what happens when the media votes and puts teams and anoints them as national champions. You don't trust the media, and those people anointed national champions. But when teams like Oklahoma get into the playoff, they get crushed. When you actually have to play for a national title, those guys get crushed. I know that we were going to talk about this LSU-Arkansas game, so let's talk about it, and I'll get to some more of your comments. Here's my thing about this game, and we'll break more of it down tomorrow before we get ready for the actual game. Here's my thing about LSU and Arkansas that scares the bejesus out of me. Number one, I wonder how this team, meaning LSU, is going to come out and react. How are they going to come out and react? Now, last week, an LSU team held Alabama to only 6 rushing yards, and if they do that against Arkansas, Arkansas is not going to win. They don't have the personnel nor the quarterback, in my opinion, to, if you stop their running game, that they can go pass happy and score a lot of points. The problem is neither can LSU right now. LSU hasn't been great at scoring points. Last year in Fayetteville, you found the way to win behind TJ Finley, who led you down on the last scoring drive to win that game. For me, this game hinges on if LSU can duplicate the performance that they had last week against Alabama, and they stop Arkansas from running the football, or not even stop, but even contain this Arkansas rushing attack, things could get very hairy for Sam Pittman and company. Now, I like Cody Kennedy. He's a guy from Southeastern, love him to death, and I think that they'll have a good game plan. But I still don't believe that teams in the SEC like Arkansas have the personnel, even though LSU has a lot of talent that's out. Guys, we haven't seen Mike Jones all season play significant snaps. He gets in there and he starts balling. Big balling is my hobby, is what he said. Do they put pressure on third down and longs, third down and mediums? Do they put pressure on Arkansas like they did last week against Alabama? This is going to be a quicker game because both teams are probably going to want to try to run the football. Now, Arkansas, on the flip side, I do think that LSU will have not only a lot of chances, but even success running the football against Arkansas because, look, they're going to put 3 down linemen. They're going to have 3 linebackers. They're going to want to play 6, 7, or 7, 8, and sometimes even a couple of weeks ago, 9 guys in coverage. If you can't, it's a lot like Mississippi State. Guys, if you can't run the football in a 6-man box, you have a lot of issues. Now, Barry Odom is a good defensive coordinator. He's going to have his guys coached up. So if you want to run these counter runs, if you want to run this counter scheme game, you better be ready to pull it and let Max run and run RPOs behind it. Because if you don't and you allow Barry Odom to scheme against you and you don't change things up offensively, LSU is going to get beat. LSU is going to get beat. Again, to me, the game plan that LSU had last week to run at Will Anderson, the best defensive player in the SEC, in my opinion, is not only asinine, but it's juvenile in a sense. It's like, hey, this is Little League football. This is junior high football in Franklinton, Louisiana. And we're going to go run what we run, man. Bro, you got to scheme shit up. You can't just continue to run the best player on their team. Anyway. This game could get very dicey very quickly. LSU has to be able to stop the run like they did last week. And if they did, guys, LSU could easily win by 2 touchdowns if Arkansas is limited to only 6 yards rushing like last week, Guys, I don't think they score over 20 points. Actually, I could see them scoring in the high teens. We will see. Jack says, not agreeing with this rant. Don't smoke pot, play football. Yeah, and look, Jack, there's not a lot that I can argue with that. Again, when you break the rules, you have to be faced with the consequences. However, maybe when we were growing up, going and having a beer by a bonfire is completely different to what kids are doing today, right now. It's got to be changed. And Jack, to this point, this whole weed deal, this whole weed rule that LSU has is not compliant with what everybody else around the SEC does. Guys, your starting left tackle is playing and starting for and has not missed a game for Kentucky. It's horrible, man. Telling a 18 to 21-year-old kid what they are and are not going to do, it's not going to happen. Kenny Russell says, but we need to look at certain dominoes to drop. Those will have clues. Kenny, you're correct. And those dominoes are falling. Those dominoes are falling. Kenny says on Facebook Love, I bet it's Luke Fickell feels the same way. Could be. Nobody's talking about Luke Fickell. Can you get him out of the Midwest? Can you get him out of Cincinnati, where Cincinnati is a team that is going to be in a Power 5 conference next season? I don't know that. Mike Smith says Lincoln Riley is 9-0 and ninth in the college football playoff. That's the reason he wants to come to LSU. Well, they haven't played anybody, man. I mean, now the next 3 weeks will show how good Oklahoma is. They face 3 ranked opponents, and if they beat all 3 of them, they're going to get in the playoff, in my opinion. I don't think that you can keep out a undefeated Oklahoma team that is coming off a performance, because then they would go to a Big 12 championship game, and if they win that, they would have won a 4th game against a ranked opponent. My opinion is that they lose one. I don't know who. I don't know if it's coming this week against Baylor, Iowa State. Oklahoma State. I don't know who it's going to come against. But guys, when you play 4 ranked or at least 3 ranked opponents, the chances are, and history has taught us, that majority of those teams lose at least one of those games. It teaches us that one of those guys will, or one of those teams will knock off Oklahoma. Taekwon C says on YouTube, do you think Cardell Thomas will be at LSU longer than Miles Brennan was? No, I could see him transferring. I think that, he not only has he been passed up by Chasen Hines, Anthony Bradford, who's starting left tackle, but when a new regime comes in, I would expect him to move back into the interior. Marlon Martinez, you got Emory Jones coming in, who's, in my opinion, even a better prospect than Cardell Thomas was. And I've told you guys this, and there's video out there of me saying this. I was never really a fan of all of the height that Cardell Thomas had. I thought that his technique was bad, and I think that it's showing on the practice field, and we haven't seen him. The only time that we've really seen him at LSU is a spring game where, guys, he got destroyed by Jacobian Guillory, Tank Guillory, and Jaquelin Roy. So how does he fare against Will Anderson if he goes up against him last week against Alabama? It's not going to play out well. And that's not a shot at Cardell Thomas. I think he's got the skills. He's just got to hone in on it. Injury was much worse than what we all thought, though. Blaine Smith says, y'all sure LSU ain't about to hire Fickell? Very quiet as for him being a candidate. Who's y'all? Who is y'all? See, Blaine, when people say this, who is y'all? Because I haven't said anything of the sort. Either way. Bunny says we need to target Brian Thomas Jr. more. I agree with that. I agree with that. Lamar says LSU should win the Wildcat play with Jontre Kirkland. Look, I fully expect. I fully expect. Well, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that alone for. No, I'm going to roll with it, guys. I fully expect if LSU goes down 7-0. I just don't know how short this leash is for Max Johnson right now. Like it feels pretty short. Peggy Red says no Ed Ingram or Chasen Hines this week. Guys, everybody, please cover your ears if you got. Well, I'm not gonna. I just won't curse. What the hell is going on? Like, what the hell is going on at LSU football ops? Where's that roster? Because I have a roster that LSU gave us for the practices that we go to. Where's that roster? I don't know where it is, but LSU, I'll have to find it. It's in my office in here somewhere. But LSU files an active roster at the beginning of the season to the SEC. So if you go to the SEC's website and you look at rosters, okay, I want all of you to do me a favor. And that it's not just like what LSU does when it comes to a profile on, their roster. It's an actual walk-ons, scholarship guys, everybody is on that roster. What you're going to count is probably more than likely around 120 kids total. Okay? Walk-ons, everybody. And what I want you to do is if you print that out, I want you to make a mark through every player that's either injured, out, or is transferring. Because I promise you, once you get from 0 to 10, you're probably going to have 8 kids that are already out. Mason Smith, number 0. Kayshawn Boutte, number 1. Elias Ricks, number 1. Who's 4. John Emery, so that's 5. Who's number 6? Deion Smith. Derek Stingley Jr. Funny how we get to 7, and he's number 7. Number 8. There's no number 9, no number 10. So what, 7 in the top 10? So if you do numbers 0 to 10, you have 7 kids that are out for the season or could be out for the rest of the season. How does that work? Amanda on Facebook Live says, I hope people actually show up to the game. They're going to need the crowd noise to help out. Arkansas is so up and down this season. We need to bring it in the fans also. I agree, and I hope a lot of fans go. Like I really do. I don't go to many games, if at all, anymore. We do the post-game show and we do it from here. So, yeah. Brian Champagne says, how is Michigan right above Michigan State? So this was going to be my Ruffino's rants for the night. And, it's funny to me, and I've talked about this religiously, and people are like, well, Blake, it doesn't matter to the end. The rankings never matter until the playoff gets here. And to some extent, you're right. To some extent, yeah, that's true. That's true. It doesn't really matter because it's going to play itself out. But how in the hell can you have Oregon, who beat Ohio State, above Ohio State because head-to-head, Oregon took down the Buckeyes in the Horseshoe. But then only a couple of weeks ago, 9 days ago, Mel Tucker, the fighting Mel Tuckers of Michigan State, went out and beat Michigan. Guys, the games have to fucking matter. I don't know if the solution is to make a commissioner of college football. I don't think that you should do that. I don't think that you should have a Roger Goodell as a commissioner of college football. But what I do think, and especially with Michigan being above Michigan State, then why in the hell do we play the game? Why in the hell do we even suit up? Because for every kid that's on Michigan State's team, to every coach that's on Michigan State's coaching staff, why do we even go out there? Why? Are you 100% positive that the Alabama team that we saw lose to Texas A&M and the Alabama team who's literally seconds away from being beat by LSU is the number 2 team in the country? When you have historians on the damn board, the committee, guys, and this is with all due respect to whoever the professor is on the committee. Big Daddy, you don't know more football than half the people in this damn chat. You could probably tell me what type of toilet Pablo Escobar used to poo on. But what you can't tell me is what defense LSU was running to start the game against Alabama. Were they running a 3-4? Were they running cover 3? Were they doing blitzes in zero coverage? He doesn't know. When this playoff is expanded to 12 teams, I feel bad for teams 13 and 14. No, I don't think Cincinnati deserves to be in the top 4. They're going to get crushed. But you can't justify to me Michigan being above Michigan State. The something that we're building here is college football centric, and obviously we talk about a lot of LSU, but we talk a lot about college football. College football is my passion, and I love it to my core. But when you start making irrational choices and irrational decisions, it questions the purity of what actually happens. No other sport does it happen where you can beat somebody and they're higher ranked than you, meaning head to head with the same record. That's like saying Mike Tyson beat Buster Douglas, or Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson for the world championship. But you know what? Yeah, we're still going to say Mike Tyson is the better fighter, and Mike Tyson is the heavyweight champ. He's not. Now, I get what happened to Buster Douglas after that. It's probably a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. The college football playoff committee is a joke. And until they fix it or even do a commissioner, hell, I would like to just see it for a season. What happens? Let somebody be the deciding voice and go in there and say, hey, you can't put Michigan over Michigan State, you stupid ass buffoon. Anyway, Jacob Marceau says, if Riley is an option, then they need to lose a game so they'll miss the playoffs. Timing would line for a move to LSU at that point. Be tough to wait till after the playoffs. I agree with that. Dylan Allen on Facebook says, hashtag ask Blake, if Riley is the guy and OU wins out, so it's kind of the same question, just tilted differently, how will we be able to announce? You won't, and you'll probably have to move on. Unless you just want to wait. Unless Woodward tells recruits hey, we got our guy. But those kids know something that we don't. Because there's too much going around with them not to know. Sydney on YouTube says you got to play the game. Yeah, you got to play the game. Yeah, you got to play the game. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke what the College Football Playoff Committee is and has become. I legitimately just don't understand it. And Jeffrey says it's politics, Blake. Yeah, it's politics. Why is a athletic director from Iowa the lead guy for the College Football Playoff Committee? They haven't won shit. I don't know if that man knows what good football is, with all due respect. Adam says, what about the BCS playoff hybrid system? I wouldn't mind that. Brian Champagne says the BCS was better. You know, a lot of people don't like the fact that, and look, some of the BCS, the BCS, if I'm not mistaken, now you still could go look at the ratings, or look at the BCS system. I think that they still calculate it. They would have Cincinnati number 2. Guys, Cincinnati has no business being number 2. They just don't. Because when you're only when you got to have the BCS computer does not see that Cincinnati had to have a goal line stand to beat Tulsa. As much as I've gotten on to Alabama, that would be a slugfest. Bundy says Coy Moore is another guy that transferred. That's true. So no, so that is eight kids that is out, likely for the rest of the season. Some of them we already know's out for the season, and Coy makes 8. So again, from LSU starting roster, from 0 to 10, you got 8 kids. What's really going on? Peggy Red says, is Deion Smith out for the year? I do hear some things, but I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know if he's coming back. Lamar says they was running a 4-3. No, they came out in a 3-4. LSU came out in a 3-4. They came out with, and your nose was Neil Farrell, and you had Glenn Logan. Shit. And you had son of a bitch. Who was because BJ Ojulari was standing up on the other side. Jaqueline Roy wasn't the other one. Who was the other one? Was it Jaqueline? Oh, you had Sonny Fanu. You had Sony Fanu with his hand in the dirt, playing the 5 technique. You had Neil Farrell at the nose, and then you had Glenn Logan. Brandon Reese says, let's be honest. They want the blue blood programs in the playoff every year. Well, yeah. And what's crazy is that what does it mean? What does it mean to be your blue blood? Like, I don't know if I necessarily understand what that means when you're getting your ass kicked. Somebody asked, who's my top 4? I'm missing the comment. I saw it. I don't have a problem with the top 4. I don't have a problem. Nothing's wrong with the top 4, in my opinion. I don't care that they have Alabama 2, even though I think that they just haven't beaten anybody of relevance. I still think Cincinnati has a better win than they do. But Oregon has the best win in the country. And everybody's saying, well, Blake, they lost to Stanford. They also lost to Stanford with their offensive coordinator not being there. So I give Oregon a little bit of a push and a little bit of a, like, hey, man, so you've been beating the shit out of everybody when your OC's back. Look, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If we're going to get Alabama the benefit of the doubt, the committee's giving Alabama the benefit of the doubt for only having 6 rushing yards against a team like LSU, and we know how bad they've been, but they're not giving Oregon the benefit of the doubt because their offensive coordinator was out. Joe Moorhead was not there. Joe Moorhead was not present when they lost to Stanford. They still scored 42 points. Sorry. And at the time, the Texas A&M loss that Alabama sustained was not good. But it played out itself to be not that bad. Tracy says on YouTube, #Ask Blake, if new coaches has team that will be in the playoffs, do you think the new coach will be announced after the A&M game? No, I don't. No, I don't. I sure do not. Let's do this, and then we'll get to the rest of these comments. But I got to talk about my good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. If you were, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting worked up. If you were affected by Hurricane Ida, call the Drake Williams Law Firm. They've been taking a lot of cases. A lot of insurance companies have just been doing things that aren't so great to their clients. Let the Drake Williams Law Firm talk with you through a free consultation. That way you know that you're getting the best bang for your buck, literally. 985-386-7600, 985-386-7600. Tell them Blake sent you on by, and our good friend Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220, 225-937-7220. Guys, they do fantastic outdoor landscaping. They do fantastic outdoor kitchens. And, I mean, you just got to go to their website or on Facebook at Roche's Lawn and Landscape. It's absolutely beautiful. If you're looking to get landscaping done right now during the months of November and December, give them a call. Again, that's 225-937-7220. Tell them Blake sent you on by. Pooh Bear says, Blake, I bet the College Football Playoff Committee didn't run a 4-4-2 in college either. Yeah, we had a guy in here the other night talking about that he ran a 4-4-2 at St. Martinville High School. Tracy also says, suggestion, Coach O for College Football Playoff Commissioner. LOL, we know he won't bite his tongue. It's true. It's true. But I sometimes question if Orgeron would know what good football looks like if it bit him in the ass. Sometimes. Like I really do. Like I worry about Ed sometimes, man. Like I legitimately just have worries for him. Like he worries me. Brian Thomas says, "Don't nobody want no damn Luke Fickell, man." Oh man, Luke Fickell's a good coach, man. Luke Fickell's a good coach. Blaine Smith says, I think by the end of next week, we will know the coach. No, I don't think that. No way it makes into the middle weekend finale. No. I think that we're still I think that we're at least a good week and a half away from really knowing anything. Week and a half, 2 weeks. Brian Champagne says, Coach Zero sabotaging the team. We got a lot of kids out, man. We got a lot of kids out. It's not cool or funny. Brandon Reese says, deep down, I think Riley knows he's probably won't win a title at Oklahoma. I agree with that, especially when they join the SEC and the road to the playoffs gets harder. Guys, go look at the Oklahoma roster. Let me go look at this right quick. Oklahoma football roster. And I just want to see how many kids from Oklahoma are actually from Oklahoma. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'd have to do this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Guys, I had to go to 16 players before I found the first player from the state of Oklahoma on their roster. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And then number 27 is another kid from Oklahoma. So the first 27 kids on the roster, only 2 are from the state of Oklahoma. So you want to know why Lincoln Riley might want, and people who talk about him not being a good recruiter, guys, it's going to wind up being close to 90% of his roster, if not more than 95% of his roster is from out of state. That's really fucking good when it comes to recruiting. I don't know. Damn, I keep wanting to talk about the Saints, but we just keep talking LSU. Guys, I want the Saints to win. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be entertaining, but man, are they just not going to win? They're not going to win a Super Bowl, guys. Like, I hope you know that. We didn't talk basketball. The whole starting 5 getting knocked out. Look, Will Wade's got a squad on him, man. I'll end it here, but Will Wade's got a squad on him, guys. It's going to be fun to watch. Will Wade has a squad. Afton Reed, Darius Days, Brandon Murray. I'm not saying this team's going to make the Final Four, but damn, were they impressive last night. The 101 points did not impress me more than holding them to 39 points. That's impressive, man. That's impressive. We'll probably get into more basketball talk. I hate talking basketball this early. Maybe not hate it. Hate's a strong word. I just don't like talking about it a lot during football season in the middle of a freaking football coaching search. It's a cop-out for me to talk a whole entire show about college basketball during football season. I'm just not going to do it. We'll talk about it, but I'm just not going to do it. All right, guys, we will see y'all again tomorrow night. Big finale before the big game for the week for AYS. We will see y'all there again tomorrow. Y'all have a good night, and peace out, Girl Scouts.